Okay, it was a crazy long commissioners court meeting today, but we got through it. The media was there. I recognized some of their faces. Recognize your pretty faces. We adopted No Ink as our new poll book software today. We got rid of 10x recently and just adopted No Ink. I spoke against No Ink, of course, though I wasn't surprised that they actually unanimously voted to adopt it because we are still in the countywide polling place program. And a couple things go together, right? Countywide polling place program and electronic poll books go together, right? And in precinct voting and paper poll books go together. Okay, it's like PB&J. This one's like AOC and Soros. Okay, they go together, right? One can't operate well without the other, and you can't really crisscross them. Now you can make electronic poll books operate in precinct, but then there's still the question of whether or not they can be hacked and all of that stuff. So I obviously spoke against it, but because we're still in the countywide polling place program and they're not ready to get out of that yet. They haven't had that debate and discussion, but there is an election commission meeting that's going to happen next week, so maybe they'll have a talk then or begin that process of getting out of that program. Until we're in precinct voting only, the paper poll books are not feasible. It has to go with in precinct voting. Okay. So, I spoke against that. I said that basically. As well as some other things like the hash values. I told them about hash values. Asked them to please ask Hyder to show them how to pull hash values off of electronic components and programs. Let's see. They spoke about Hyder's resignation. There was a tense moment when Commissioner Brooks accused Judge O'Hare of being the reason that Hyder resigned, allegedly based solely on what Hyder told the media. But Judge O'Hare pointed out that he thought that was a private conversation, so he's kind of shocked that everybody's, coming at and saying, oh, well, because of this conversation with Judge O'Hare, Hyder's resigning. So, interesting that got out. It was a shock to everybody, including Commissioner's Court, that he resigned. So, very, very swift. But people spoke about that. The media was there specifically for that. I know. I think they must be friends with Hyder at this point, and which is totally fine. People are allowed to be friends. Anyways, they showed up. I spoke at the very end a little bit about Hyder's resignation. Said my piece on that, and then just asked Judge O'Hare about an issue that was reported yesterday from a poll watcher. Other than that, the most interesting thing by far in today's Commissioner's Court meeting was a conversation that had nothing to do with elections, actually. But what they were discussing was whether a county employee can take a position against the county on legislation and then go and testify on it. And they kind of established that a county employee, when they go down to testify at the House or the Senate, they need to be representing what the county has decided about that piece of legislation, not what they personally want. Well, Hyder, employed at Tarrant County EA, told me that he was down there in the Senate speaking against at least 4 of our election bills, our election integrity bills. And he said, but I said, well, who from your office goes down there? Like, who else would go down there? And he was like, no, it's just me, but I'm not going on behalf of Tarrant County elections. I'm going down there to speak on behalf of the association, which is the TAEA, the Texas Association of Election Administrators. So my question is, can he do that? I mean, if he's our EA, he's employed by the county. Has he conferred with the Commissioner's Court or the Election Commission and Board about how they feel? Is there a consensus from the county about these pieces of legislation that he's going and testifying against on behalf of the TAEA? Is that a joint sentiment between the Tarrant County Election Commission and Commissioner's Court and the TAEA? Was there any discussion or meeting had about those bits of legislation? Has Tarrant County taken an official position against our election integrity bills? It's not tracking. I'm thinking Hyder did not confer with local government before taking a position on behalf of the TAEA and going and testifying against legislation as an employee of Tarrant County Elections, as the head of Tarrant County Elections. I know he's the chairman of, the election, board? But I'm not sure that that's kosher. That's what I'm trying to say right now. Basically, GK Manius, is that legal? I almost stood up and asked that today. I really did, but they weren't talking about the elections, and wouldn't put it past Tim O'Hare to swiftly shut me down, even though, we're of the same party, but whatever. I did campaign against him in the primaries. But so it wasn't related to elections, so I didn't stand up and bring it up because I didn't want to get shut down, but I definitely made a mental note of that. I'm not sure that's proper. I'm going to bring that up. Anybody who wants to look into that, your assistance and input is much appreciated. It was a super long commissioner's court today. Another interesting thing. There was a presentation by TechShare, which is some program that they're building to help manage the court system. And there's a discussion about that, about how this is a private entity and their shit hasn't worked for like 12 years, but we've spent apparently $26 million into them and we're not using what we're paying for. There's some things that work, but most of it doesn't work. Right. So there's a whole discussion there about why are we like funding and like creating a company over here that's private. We should be hiring internally and developing our own system here internally, hire our own IT experts and stuff. Why are we using their product and paying them so much money and it doesn't even work, and we have no recourse, and it's taxpayer dollars that are going to a private entity instead of taxpayer dollars going to their own employees, the employees of the county, to develop our own codes for all this stuff. They're developing software to manage the court systems and everything. And once again, my mind goes to elections. I was like, why are we contracting with Hart and ES&S when we could be hiring people like Hyder who have built these systems before, and we could be building it internally and we would have the source code and we could audit our own source code. Okay? I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyways, long day. Bye.